Welcome to Market Talk Weekly, discussing sales and marketing techniques to help you compete in the real estate market. We're here week after week to educate, inform, and encourage real estate professionals. And now, here's your host, real estate broker, instructor, and coach, Bryon Roth.
So for weeks on end, you've been working on calling for sale by owners, cold calling expireds, working your database of prospective buyers and sellers, and you finally got a listing appointment. The first thing I want to tell you is to prepare for this listing appointment as if you're competing with 4 or 5 other real estate agents, because you might be. Now, you may be the only one going, but you just don't know for sure. So you want to prepare so that you win this listing. When I'm preparing for a listing appointment, the main thing I'm going to do is I'm going to develop a comparative market analysis so that I can tell them what I believe their home would sell for on the market. But I'm also going to have a listing presentation, and these are documents that I'm going to have printed out, and I have a binder that I can bind it all in so it looks really professional. Some of the things that you'll find in the listing presentation will be information about myself, my past accomplishments, information about my company. Now, I work for a large organization, Century 21, so there's a lot of history that's in there. Also, the big numbers of how many offices, how many agents, that kind of goes toward what the reach is for this organization. But then I also have, and this is one of the most important things that I point out in an appointment, is my marketing plan. See, what you need to be doing is building worth during a presentation when you go for a listing appointment. You're building worth because you're going to be asking them to provide you with the biggest cost of their sale, and that's your commission. And so there has to be some worth in it. You can't just say, hey, I'm going to sell your house for you, I'll put it on the market, and boom, I hopefully will find somebody. No, tell them why you're going to be worth whatever your commission is going to be. So I go through my marketing plan, and I even outline it from week to week for the first 3 weeks, and it says, this is what I'm going to do the first week, second week, third week, and then ongoing. I'm also going to look up any past sales. I'm going to learn everything I can about their house and about the neighborhood that they're in. I'll also go on to we'll call it the GIS site, or the government's tax site, to learn what the assessment value is. Now, again, we know that assessed value has nothing to do with market value, but I want to know everything I can about the home, and especially if the assessment in the taxes, it says that maybe it's a 1,500 square foot home, 3 bedrooms, 2 baths, and they're saying that it's 4 bedrooms, 3 baths. So evidently, that they had built on, and maybe they didn't get a building permit. The county or jurisdiction doesn't know that they built on, and so that may be something you want to talk about. When I arrive at the appointment, the very first thing I always do, I ask for a tour of the home. That's the first and foremost thing that I want to do. And I do that for 2 reasons. The first is because obviously I want to see the home. And the second is because I want to build rapport during this tour. So as I'm walking through, now I'm an avid fisherman. I like to hike. I like to camp. So if I see any of those things, man, I'm going to be drawn to them. I'm going to start talking about them. But even if you don't see things that you could relate to, you can always see things in their house that would start a conversation. Maybe you see something that shows that maybe they were in the military in the past, and so you can start bringing that up and just start asking questions about it. What you want to do is get them to start talking about themselves. You can consider this time an icebreaker as well, just giving them time to kind of warm up to you a little bit and also start to build trust with you. Now, let me caution you, as you're walking around and you're looking at the house, and obviously the other thing was that you want to familiarize yourself with the home. You never want to point out anything negative about the house. I don't care what's going on in the house, if they got holes in the walls, whatever it is. Only point out the best of their house, because nobody's going to want someone who is ragging on their home. They want to know that you believe that you can sell this home. Once we finish with the tour, then I ask them if we can sit down somewhere. And this is when I'm going to prepare for my presentation. Before I even pull out the presentation of the comparative market analysis, I ask them this question. And I ask every single time before I do the presentation, that is, what would you like to get for this house? How much do you want to sell it for? And the reason I do that before showing them the comparative market analysis is because I need to know if their expectation is higher than what the comparative market analysis came back with. Because if it is, let's say I came in, I just showed them the comparative market analysis, and I showed them what I felt like the home would sell for, and they wanted $50, $60, maybe $100,000 more, I just lost the deal. Because now they believe that I can't sell the home for what they want, and they may just turn me off, and now they're thinking about, the next agent. Not long ago, I shared this information with a new agent, and I was helping them along with a listing appointment. We got the comparative market analysis together and everything. I shared with them again about, make sure that you ask the client what they want, or the potential client what they want for the house before you show them the comparative market analysis. Well, being a new agent, he was nervous and things just kind of rolled along fairly fast, and he forgot that order. And so he did the comparative market analysis first, and she got upset with him. She was mad because she felt like it was an insult. She didn't want to sell it for that little. She had another number in her mind, and it was a lot more. And so he was like having to backpedal, and I will tell you, he never ended up with the listing. But, I understand going in, especially your first listing appointment, you're going to be nervous, but you got to get the order down. You really do. It's important that you ask them first, because then, let's say they want more. Now I know how to present this thing so that they understand before I tell them that we're going to list it for whatever they want. And remember that we owe our clients a duty of obedience. So that means that they're the boss, and we're going to sell it for whatever they want, not whatever we want to sell it for. Even though we may say, we know in our minds that's overpriced. I'm not going to try and talk them out of that price because I want the listing. So I'll go ahead and ask them, what do they want for the house, or what's their expectation? If it's higher, then I'll go ahead and start going through the presentation. When I get to the comparative market analysis, I'll let them know, hey, this is just what the computer came up with, and I kind of distance myself from the report a little bit and let them know, just so you know, you said, whatever, $300,000, and that's what we're going to list this house for. It's $300,000, but I just want to show you what, the comparative market analysis came up with. And then that way it kind of prepares them for what it is, and you've already told them that you're going to list it for whatever they want. Now, they may see the data and say, you know what, maybe we should list it for less, but maybe they won't. And that's okay if they don't, because I always say after they go ahead and say, okay, I agree, and I always have a listing agreement with me. After they agree, they signed, and I say, look, we're going to get it on the market. I tell them some of the first things I'm going to do, and I'll say, and we're going over what comparative market analysis says. What I'd like to do is, if the home doesn't sell in the next 2 weeks, or if we don't get a lot of people coming through to see it, I'd like to come back and meet with you and just talk about the list price. And usually they don't have any problem with that. And I've done this many times and had to go back, and we've lowered the price. Once I get that listing agreement, then I'll schedule a time that I can come back and have photos taken of the property, but I'm also telling them that I want to do a second tour of the home and walk through and talk about ways that we can improve the showability of the home. So I'll come back and we'll walk around, and mainly what we're looking for is to declutter. That's the main thing, just declutter as much as possible. And if they have a spare bedroom, I always will suggest that they consider this the beginning of their packing, because they're going to have to pack to move anyway. So I just say, hey, just start packing your stuff to declutter, and use that spare guest bedroom and just stack up boxes in there neatly. Now, if there are some issues with the house, that's when I'm going to discuss them when I come back. And honestly, I don't like to get a listing and then just put it on the market the next day. I like to come back and spend a little bit of time preparing the house, helping them to see what we need to do, make it look a little better. places I focus on are wherever we're coming in, whether it's the living room or a back door, that area needs to pop. Kitchens and bathrooms are main areas that you really want to focus on to make them look really good. And sometimes those people have a lot of stuff in their kitchen, on the counters and everything. I try to get them to just declutter and get rid of all that stuff, box it all up. Just remember that the listing appointment is a showcase of who you are and what you can do for people. And so you want to put your best foot forward. You want to be smart, and you really want to put a lot into it and look really professional. And if you do that, the chances are that you're going to win the listing appointment.
Thanks for listening to another episode of Market Talk Weekly. Visit our website at markettalkweekly.com for more real estate resources. And as always, don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss a single episode of Market Talk Weekly.